And welcome to the UK and Ireland Minnesota Vikings Fan Club podcast. I'm your host for today's episode, TPJ. I'm your content lead here at the fan club, and I'm joined by two more of our fan club higher-ups. I'm joined by charity lead. I nearly gave you your old title, but it's charity lead, Mr. Reece Field, and vice president, co-founder, international fan of the year, and all-round nice guy, Mr. John McDonald. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be back with you guys after only a week away. Although it is a little bit weird after we went about a month without doing any shows whatsoever. But no, it's good to see you guys. Have you spent your last week? Have you had a good time?
I've been gloating a little bit over being right over Kyler Murray, but other than that, pretty quiet week.
Been a good week in sport.
Yeah, Arsenal moving towards the Premier League title, I think. Anyway, we'll move on from that and we'll talk Minnesota Vikings. We've got some more news from the start of free agency and the start of the new league year. We're moving towards the draft. Obviously, by the way, we don't have Big Deal Rich with us this week. It is his youngin' Billy's birthday, I believe. So happy birthday, Billy. I'm sure everyone here would like to say the same.
Happy birthday, Billy.
Hey, Billy.
And if anyone listening ever wants us to give them a shout out on their birthday, you are quite happy to email us or contact us by social media. Reece will give you all those details at the end of the show. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the Vikings signings in free agency, and particularly a signing at quarterback and what that will mean for the quarterback room and the depth chart going into the 2026 season. Shall we start with the news, boys?
I mean, there's not much of it, so we might as well.
We might as well, yes. So, John, you brought up a bit of news that we've got in the pre-show meeting. What's that you brought up for us?
That Adam Thielen and CJ Ham will be holding a joint retirement press conference on Thursday. Both Minnesota boys retiring as Vikings. It's good to see that they're sticking together and retiring as a pair. Their journeys are very similar.
Yeah, well, CJ obviously stayed with the Vikings for his whole career. Thielen went away, came back, and went away again. But and it didn't really finish the way we wanted it to for Adam Thielen, did it, Reece?
I don't think it finished the way we wanted it to for either of them. But yeah, with Thielen, it was a bit of an odd one. You'll look at his Wikipedia page in 10 years' time and go, oh yeah, he played for the Steelers at one point. It's just one of those that I think we wish he could have stayed the whole time, but the way the roster was going at the point he left for the Panthers, it never would have worked to retain him at what he was earning at that point in time. No,
he's very much. I feel like he's going to finish his life in however many years' time, but he'll be in the Hall of Very Good. I don't think he'll be Hall of Fame, although the story is so Hall of Fame worthy. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I say the story is very much Hall of Fame, from a undrafted player to, at some points, one of the Vikings' top receivers. It was at least number two for a good couple of years, but yeah, his story. Both the stories are undrafted Minnesota boys coming to play for the Vikings. But yeah, they are both very. These are stuff movies are made of, but unfortunately, we didn't have the movie ending.
Indeed, I think the Vikings often have could possibly have accusations of sentimentality leveled at them for some of their stories, some of their signings. We might get onto that a little bit later when we get to talk about the QB moves, but we'll move on from that now. Very excited to hear about Thielen and CJ Ham retiring as Vikings, but another player whose future isn't quite decided just yet is Harrison Smith. We expect that he might retire this summer, but the Vikings have made a roster move related to him. Reece, can you tell us any more about that?
Yeah, it's not as cold-blooded as some headlines would make it out to be. It's more a procedural thing. By designating for a June 1st release means that should he not make a decision over retirement or coming back in the next season, it allows us to spread what void years were over a couple of years. Just a good financial move by the salary cap king, as we should call Rob Brzezinski. Hopefully, Smith makes a decision. I reckon that it is going to be one, though, that he will sit it out and come November time, if the Vikings need safety help, that's where he might come back. Let's face it, we've seen with these veteran players that they are well and truly good enough to not need training camp at this point. When you get to the experience that Harrison Smith has, he's got the professionalism to stay in shape if needed. So there shouldn't be any concerns if he elects to come back.
Yeah, he hardly seemed to need to practice last season. The number of times we saw him on the limited or did not practice list in the injury reports was almost more than he actually practiced. John, do you think we're heading towards a Harrison Smith retirement, or do you think Reece is or do you think he'll start the season on the Vikings roster for a start?
I do not think he'll start the season on the Vikings roster. I do not think. I think that's something I'm pretty sure on. But I could see if we're heading in the right direction and we need a little help towards December time, I could see him stepping out of retirement and just be like, "Come on, then one more ride."
So it'll be perhaps a pseudo retirement of the 22 jersey, at least for the start of the season. No one's going to be wearing that at least until Harrison Smith decides to come back. I honestly think they should retire the 22 jersey for Paul Krause and Harrison Smith now. I mean, those two guys combined have done enough as Viking safeties to warrant the 22 jersey being retired. I assume jersey retirements isn't something that really happens anymore, but if it was going to happen for anyone, it would be those two guys.
Well, you say that. It's not too often. We've seen Shador Sanders get a jersey retired at Colorado.
Yeah, well, that's college.
Yeah,
they can do what they want.
That's college. That's true. I mean, we see some odd things. It's the right move. I think there shouldn't be another 22. We don't. It feels weird when you see like Josh Oliver rocking the 84 jersey. And that's no disrespect to Josh Oliver. He's a solid player, but he's not Randy Moss. But if you retired it every time you had a Hall of Fame caliber player go through your team, then yeah, we'd be running out of jersey numbers.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think they made that joke in Futurama. They started getting down to like pi and fractions and things like that. So Smith probably not going to start the season as a Viking, but we have got some safety news coming out of free agency. Defensive back, we'd probably call him a safety. Tavier Thomas has re-signed on a 2-year deal worth $4.6 million. Almost $2 million of that is guaranteed. Do you like that move, John?
Yeah, again, I see us maybe making moves in the draft for secondary help, but yeah, it's something that needs to be done. A little restructure, maybe give him his shot, because I don't think he got on the field much at all, really, did he? If anything.
No, it was him and well, he didn't play much, but it was Jay Ward and what was the other fellow? That was it, Theo
Jackson.
The one who we gave, Theo Jackson. We gave him like $8 million last off season, and I feel like this is kind of a repeat of that. But what do you think, Reece? You're pulling faces like you think something.
I don't like the move, mostly because
Are those the faces you pull when the cogs start hurting?
It's sorry, what? No, it's not a move. It's not a move I like. Mostly because those who think, "Oh, Tavier Thomas, I've heard that before." It's usually yes, you've heard that before on commentary after they said the words "holding," "receiving team" on special teams. He's brought back as a special teamer, really, and you do need good special teamers and CJ Ham's retirement, I think, has opened the door for Tavia Thomas to get another crack as a special teams specialist. He's not going to see the field inactive player, or you'd be concerned if he did. The Vikings have got enough safety depth with the way that Jay Ward, seemed to come along very nicely in the second half of the season. So this is purely a special teams move for me.
Yeah, almost certainly. And again, it's like we plan this out perfectly. But another special teams move made in this offseason. Long snapper Andrew DePaula, the oldest player on the team at the age of, I think he's coming up to 39. He's re-signed for another year at basically minimum salary for a long snapper, $1.725 million, I think fully guaranteed. And why would you deny him that? But yeah, Andrew DePaula, you kind of want to keep 2/3 of your special teams room as it was last season, don't you, Reece?
Yeah, and let's face it, for every special teams mistake we've had since DePaula's been in, it's never been the snap.
No.
That's the thing. It's been a bad hold or a shanked kick. It's the long snapper has always been dependable. And I can't remember a time as a fan of the Vikings where it hasn't been. Because we had Kevin McDermott before that, and he only retired because he lost half a finger.
Yeah, Cullen Loeffler as well. We had back in my early days as a Vikings fan. He was quite good. But what was that, John?
I think there was one snap that went awry, and we had to quickly do quickly get it out. I cannot remember where it was. Probably one back there, but yeah, you keep him on the team as long as the kicker wants him there, because it's the kicker's. As far as I'm concerned, it's the kicker's decision. As long as you've got the key kicker there, you keep whatever he wants around him to make him more comfortable.
Yeah, it's going to be a big job coming in for the new punter. It's going to be as much about holding, and it is more about holding now for punters, because unless you are one of those exceptional Aussie punters like Michael Dixon for the Seahawks, who could flip a field just like that, then it is really about the holding. But when you've got the best kicker in the league, keep him happy. But for the listeners, they can tell it's the off season because we're reminiscing over the long snappers.
Look, nothing wrong with reminiscing over a long snapper. They're always a vital part of special teams. Some more, a couple of last moves that we mentioned last week that have finally become official in the last week. Defensive linemen Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave have now officially been released. The team expressed an intent to release them last week. But now, as of the start of the league year, they have officially been released. Javon Hargrave immediately unendearing himself with Vikings fans even more than he already had by signing with the Green Bay Packers. And Jonathan Allen going to the Cincinnati Bengals. But there's some intrigue with the Allen deal, isn't there, Reece? Can you explain exactly? Well, I hope you can explain exactly what the situation is there with what they call offset language.
Yeah, so first of all, boy done good, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Because, offset language, which we're going to touch upon again when we get to the quarterback news. It's effectively where the guarantees of the contract are, they're going to be there, but depending on what the new team pays, they pick up some of that guarantee. So in this case, I think we still have to pay $10 million of the guarantees for Jonathan Allen, but it's a lot less than what it should have been, which is probably why at first it seemed like a surprise that they were going to release him just because of what the cap hit was going to be. But the offsetting language all of a sudden makes everything make sense. The fact that the Bengals, the Bengals now will be paying for some of that guaranteed money and reducing our cap hit.
I'm just looking at Spotrac.com, and Allen, although I think because is he a post June 1st cut? Not sure, but basically, because of the state of his cap hit, he's currently taking up the most of our cap out of any player on the team, and he's not even playing for us next season. Be that as it may, it's not quite the same situation as Tua with the Miami Dolphins, but yeah, we're still paying Jonathan Allen the most out of anyone on the team to not be on the team.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's
there's a lot of that going around.
It's cleaning up after the GM, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Making a neat little pile out of all the messes that, unfortunately, Kwesi made. I always tried to be so positive about Kwesi, but yeah, now we're in the cold light of day in his departure. We're seeing that we could be in a far better situation than we have been. Anyway, like you said, we have another player whose contract now involves a lot of offsetting language. The Vikings have signed a new quarterback. We're not ready to say whether he's quarterback 1 or 2. That might be coming up later in the show as well. But we have signed Kyler Murray, who was released by the Arizona Cardinals at the start of the new league year last Wednesday. Kyler Murray getting paid, I believe, $1.3 million by the Vikings, but about $35.5 million by the Cardinals. John, do you like this move?
Yeah, considering he's basically playing for us for free. In like NFL terms, this is basically a free roll of the dice. Be like, have this first rounder for free.
Yeah, not even just a first rounder, first overall pick back in whenever it was, 2018.
First overall pick for free. Have this Pro Bowler for free. Yeah, we've seen what KOC can do with quarterbacks. Why not? He had many offers. We all know there were a couple of people scouting for a couple of teams scouting for him, but he chose to come to us.
Yeah, he certainly did.
It's a very odd deal because he's got a 1-year deal with no tag at the end, so it's pretty much a prove it deal for him, and then he can go away and get his contract.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, actually. Well, it'll be interesting to see where he lands after this season. You know, if he balls out, you know, maybe we go, all right, Kyler, you can have $30 million a season for 5 years. If he doesn't, then we have to make a decision. And like I say, we're going to talk about whether he's going to be the QB1 or QB2 in a little while. I mentioned earlier that we seem to have a bit of sentimentality when it comes to signing some players. Kyler Murray, well publicized, although he grew up in Texas, grew up as a Vikings fan. It's great to have players who want to play for the team and like have that that emotional attachment to us, but sometimes it can land you in a spot of bother, as we kind of saw with Carson Wentz and Adam Thielen last season. Reece, do you think that maybe we're being a bit over sentimental by going for a Vikings fan to play quarterback for us?
I don't think it came into it with any of the three, to be honest. Adam Thielen came back because he knew the playbook. Really, you needed someone in a pinch because you had no wide receivers. He knew the playbook, so get him back. Carson Wentz, we needed a veteran backup, and sure, he grew up down the road and loved the team growing up, and said it was his dream to play for the Vikings. But still, we needed a veteran backup in the room that was hugely inexperienced. And here we are again, taking by all consensus boards, whatever you want to call them, for free agency, a top 5 free agent, the best quarterback that was available out there. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. And the fact that he grew up being a Vikings fan, I just feel that makes it even more of a good fit. That there'll probably be even fewer questions about work ethic from Kyler Murray, which, from what I've been reading around, seem to actually be ridiculous. It's just that he played video games to decompress. I know I poked fun of that last week, but Kyler Murray is, professional athlete. He wants to work, and we're getting a first round pick, player here that's just had years to mature in the league.
Yeah. I suppose if we really wanted to be sentimental and get the best player available, we would have traded for Joe Burrow. But anyway, yeah. So Kyler Murray, a new Vikings player, getting paid the veteran minimum of $1.3 million against our cap, but still getting paid through the nose by the Arizona Cardinals to not be on their team. It's quite an exciting time to see where this Vikings team is going to go next season. I'm dead looking forward to the draft now, to see what we do. That sort of chat will be coming in future episodes, I'm sure. What we should probably do now is actually talk about whether Kyler Murray is going to be our QB1, or if the Vikings are going to stick by, or KOC is going to stick by JJ McCarthy. John, I'm going to come to you first. What do you think? Do you think that McCarthy is the guy? I think we said was it last week or the week before that we thought that McCarthy was the guy to stick with?
As you say, sentimentality. If we spent a 10th overall pick on this guy, whether we want to or not, I think it's becoming more apparent that KOC's not a big fan of him. I don't know if that's just rumours and everything like that, but yeah, I see Carlton beating him out. I mean, yeah, it's just we just need luck drafting QBs. It doesn't appear we've got much.
I can't remember the last time we drafted a quarterback that. Well, it's probably Teddy Bridgewater. The last time we drafted a quarterback who was like a good hope for the franchise.
There was no luck there. There was there. Culpepper probably the last one you could probably say.
I mean, we had a good couple of years with Teddy before he blew his knee out, and he's still playing in the NFL. Like the Lions picked him up again for another year in the last few days. Sorry, John, what was that?
Yeah, no, I was going to say he was in Tampa as a backup last year, and he's back with the Lions again as a backup this year. I know he was a high school coach for his old team for a while in the off seasons. He tends to go down to Florida and be a backup, be a coach down there.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, maybe Well, you said who was the one you said, Reece? Was it Dante?
I think Dante was he was a draft pick of ours. I think he was 11th overall.
I don't know if he was.
No, was it not Randall Cunningham?
It might have been Randall Cunningham. I'm probably getting my turn of the century Vikings quarterbacks mixed up.
No, Cunningham. No, it was Dante Culpepper. Randall. We should definitely cut all this out, for goodness' sake. Randall Cunningham. Yeah, Randall Cunningham came to us after a spell with the Eagles, about 10 years with them. It was Dante Culpepper for sure, who was our draft pick. But other than that, I'd say probably Fran Tarkenton. He was like the one we drafted who did the best for us. And even then, it was so long ago that none of us remember it. Anyway, Reece, what do you think? John's expressed his opinion. You think that he thinks Kyler probably is going to beat out JJ for the QB1 spot? Are you of the same mind?
I think he's the de facto QB1 already. There's no way he signs with us over anyone else in the league and takes a contract with a no tag option if he is not being given the promises that you are QB1. You are the guy this season. You've got the opportunity to prove it in the Kevin O'Connell quarterback rehab center. And there's no reason that he can't exceed, and succeed. He's got, let's face it, this is the first time since he had DeAndre Hopkins that he's got what people would call a franchise wide receiver, because there were all sorts of issues with Marvin Harrison Jr. Drops. The guy would run the wrong route completely, And the fact that the Cardinals organization is still being very tight-lipped about what happened there makes you think that the issues were not with Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett, and they are more that certain wide receivers need to study the playbook a little bit better.
Yeah, possibly. And what I like about this signing is that Kyler Murray brings something slightly different to the quarterback position for the Vikings than we've ever had since Dante Culpepper. In that he's very much a dual threat. Like, he's not a running back who can throw, but he is a quarterback who is exceptionally mobile. Is that going to be something that KOC can scheme for, John?
You'd hope so, but it doesn't tend to be KOC's strength, the running game, does it? He doesn't tend to allow his quarterbacks out the pocket. I mean, he lost his bleep the other month there, a couple of years back when I can't think who it was.
Dobbs, astronaut.
It might have been Dobbs. I don't know if it was. Who else was around then? It might have been Kurt. No, it was Kurt. It was Kurt running to the end zone at home, wasn't it? And even KOC was gobsmacked by it. It was just like, but
against the Cardinals, I remember.
Yeah. But it doesn't tend to be KOC's strength. But this is his time to prove why he is a top coach in the NFL by changing his game, by changing what we think about him, by adapting to the situation.
Yeah, like, you would think that he would be okay with taking yards and scores however they come. Surely, if a quarterback is going to see that the play's broken down and take off on a run and be able to convert for whether it's a first down or a touchdown, why would you get mad with that? But maybe be a pocket passer first. Like, is that? Do you think that's what he's going to want from Kyler Murray, Reece?
I think that's what we're going to see, to be honest, from Kyler Murray, because when he came out of the draft into the NFL with Cliff Kingsbury, it was effectively the air raid offense, set a college playbook. Now we're looking at a guy who's had a couple of years with different coaches. Jonathan Gannon in particular had him taking snaps under center quite a lot, and you'll see that from the All 11 film or the All 22 film over the last season and a half that he started. He was taking a lot of snaps under center, doing the traditional rollout bootlegs. And the thing that's great about that is he's got this maneuverability that we sort of hoped we'd get from JJ McCarthy, but the accuracy just hasn't been there with JJ. The other thing with Kyler is he's got a fair bit of the Kirk Cousins about him. He loves a tight end, and he's not afraid to dump the ball off. Sure, that might frustrate Jefferson and Addison a bit, where there are times they do break open, but the ball's still going to get out. We're still going to get positive yards from him, which is something that when we missed the big plays downfield last season, we still didn't get.
Yeah, I hopefully this will be a good change to make for a more productive offense this season. So we're thinking Kyler's definitely going to be QB1. There may be a QB competition in training camp, and if JJ McCarthy does manage to hang on to the QB1 position in the depth chart, I'm all for it. If he's showing something that it warrants him starting ahead of Kyler Murray, then great, because Kyler's not costing us a lot, and it might result in him not feeling so good about us going forward. But you spend a number 10 draft pick on a guy like JJ McCarthy and he comes good, great. But that leaves, of course, a question over who's going to be QB2 and then QB3, or does it? I'm pretty sure we're probably all going to agree that Murray and McCarthy are going to be 1 and 2, and then Brosman is going to be 3, unless we bring someone else in. Am I right, Reece?
Carson Wentz. I would advocate for Carson Wentz to come back, because when you compare the numbers to Max Brosmer considerably better. Compare him to JJ McCarthy, and he was there or thereabouts playing hurt. He was. The thing is, you could do a side by side comparison of the stats, and it's arguably more favourable in Carson Wentz, which we don't want to admit, but that is the case. And had Carson Wentz stayed healthy, not torn his labrum, he might never have lost the starting job. If he didn't get hurt against the Steelers, maybe he led that comeback drive rather than overthrowing down the middle of the field. So I'd advocate, if he's healthy, to bring him back, because he's a great veteran presence to have. And also, if JJ McCarthy's having accuracy issues, have a reliable quarterback running the scout team for the defense in practice as well. That's another reason to have a good quarterback, a veteran quarterback. That's why Brett Rippon has been able to maintain such a long career as QB3, because he can run those scout team deep offenses to keep the defense sharp, ready for the games.
Yeah, there's a player who's currently going to be a free agent, Brett Rippon. He's probably not going to come back if we have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. And then there's John Walford as well. I don't see him coming back. John, do you agree with Reece that Wentz is a likely player to come back, or do you think we might cast our net further afield, or even just stick with the 3 we've got?
I don't think Wentz will come back, because why would you, after the way you were treated? We pretty much put his body through hell last year to be a QB3. I don't see him coming back. He could probably quite easily go out there and be a backup on another team. I don't see him coming back to be a QB3 for us, especially after the way we pretty much dismantled him last year.
Well, that said, he did come out and say quite regularly that no one forced him to go out and play. He was going out there of his own free will, essentially. Was that just him being like the kind of guy who will put his body on the line for the team, or is he just saying the right things? Does that come into it at all for you, John?
Sometimes you just need the coach to do what's best for you and tell you aren't going back. That is what the coaches needed to do last year with Carson. We all know it. We've probably could have shortened his life, quite frankly, the way we treated him last year. So I wouldn't, if I was him, I would go out there and find somewhere else, because you could probably quite easily get a backup job at minimum.
Yeah, it's very possible. You've seen the likes of Justin Fields getting picked up in a trade from the Jets to the Chiefs today for a late round pick swap. If a player like Justin Fields can get picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl winners not too long ago, there's obviously going to be a place for Carson Wentz somewhere in the league. Whether or not that's at the Vikings, who knows? I could see him coming back, but I think I would rather see us roll with Murray and McCarthy, with Brosmer as the QB3 backup, probably on the practice squad rather than on the active roster. But we'll see. I could even see Brosmer being let go at some point during the season if things break down that badly, because I don't think I want to see Max Brosmer play for the Vikings again.
Not
there's
the
that
way he played.
No, there's that sentimentality we were talking about earlier. Minnesota quarterback comes and plays for the Vikings. University of Minnesota. I mean, I don't think he's. I think he's from he's a nearby state guy, isn't he? He's from like South Dakota or something.
I believe so, but it's also the fact that these Minnesota guys coming out of college, if they don't get picked up, they often end up with the Vikings in some capacity as a scout guy or a camp body. It's not uncommon to see. the only thing that makes me question sort of the public stance about Carson Wentz coming back, and how he was treated, is that deep down and inside the organization, it can't have been that bad, because from the grades that have been recently published from the 2026 NFLPA survey, the Vikings have again come back. They were overall ranked as the second best place to be. They didn't score lower
after
than
Miami, right?
I think it was after Miami, which but they didn't come back with a grade any lower than a B minus, and that was on the food. Coaches, coordinators, all at least B pluses. The head coach, an A. The team ownership, an A plus. The training staff, A minus. So that there are things there that, whilst we say he was put in there, he put himself under fire, as John said, to help the team to try and protect JJ McCarthy, be that veteran guy, who's made his millions. But why not come back if the team is as good as the grades say they are?
Yeah, and I think we should see improved offensive line play this season. I mean, I'm hoping that we pick up a decent center either in as free agency goes on or in the draft. I am not a college guy. I have no idea what centers are going to be available in the draft, but could you see us picking up one in maybe rounds 2, 3, 4?
Yes, because as
Good,
depth
right?
goes, as depth goes for the center position, this is a good draft. It's not often you can say that about centers draft, but you could probably see 6 or 7 guys go from the middle of round 2 to early round 4, which is where centers get picked up. I really do think it's Blake Randell's job to lose. I think they really like him. He is a guy who just knows the offense and consistency in an O-line, considering how beaten up we were. It makes sense to have him there, but we need to draft a center. We need more depth there because O-line depth is crucial if you're going to be having a good season, and that's something that we struggled with last year. I mean, we all saw the London game. Can you even name the starting offensive line from that London game?
No. I try my best. No, I can't. Fair enough. All right. Well, so it looks like it's going to be Kyler Murray, JJ McCarthy, and either Carson Wentz or Max Brosmer at QB3. Wentz, obviously, currently without a team, not been re-signed by anyone just yet. He might be waiting for some offers to materialize. Guys, I think we've reached the end of the show for this week. We must be getting to pint punts soon. We got to do a retrospective on that for the season. We were going to do it today, but unfortunately, Rich wasn't available to join us because of Billy's birthday. Again, happy birthday, Billy. Reece, tell the people how they can get in touch with us if they want their birthdays acknowledged on the podcast.
Yes, if you'd like your birthday acknowledged, then please email the podcast, ukvitespod@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us on all of our social medias, including X. Whilst we don't post on X anymore, you can still direct message us on there. Links to all social medias in the bio or description of this podcast, depending on where you're listening or watching. You don't just have to use it for birthdays. If you've got a question or anything like that, then please do get in touch.
Absolutely. John, any final business? Just a massive
the night shift.
That was timed badly. No, nothing here.
Fair enough. Guys, it's been a pleasure having you on this show. All it remains to say is goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Thanks for joining us. See you soon. Cheers. Ta-ra.
Sarah.
Ta-ra.